Good evening. Thank you, everyone, for coming in today and supporting us again. This is the Real Deal Fam Network. I'm Andre, and this is my beautiful wife, Essie.
Hello, and guess who is
uh,
the boss?
our boss, so to speak. Again, thank y'all so much for coming in and spending some time with us. If you could, before we get started, if you could hit that subscribe button, also that notification bell, as well as the thumbs up, we would highly appreciate it. It helps us to know that we're doing a good job.
I love.
Oh, thank you so much, fam. Uh, with that being said, with all that out the way, we thank y'all again. We're going to dive right into today's topic. And today's topic might be a little bit controversial, but it's definitely one that has helped our relationship.
How to train your man, girl?
Yeah, let me ease it now. but, but yeah, like my wife just said, it's how to train your husband. And a lot of guys, it's not just your husband. And the title probably should be best as how to train your spouse.
Yeah,
Because,
your mate.
yeah, because it goes both ways.
It's not just trying to train them to change them. It's how to train them to know what you expect from a relationship and what you're willing to, deal with, what you're just not gonna deal with. It ain't trying to change anybody. It's just letting them know your expectations
That's
to
it.
be with you.
Exactly. To help them kind of identify the things that you need and that they need to be kind of aware of to help y'all go to place y'all trying to get to.
Or not.
But for our thing, to make it very easy for everybody, we like to use the word train. The first thing we kind of gonna get into is that most people, when they enter a relationship, they kind of come in already uh, uh, off the backdrop of a previous relationship or experiences they had in their life, and so they do things a certain way. Two people that come together are not going to see things the same. They may not identify uh, things in the other person that the other person might not like.
Okay, so what's some examples? What was you coming from?
Well, my background, I was coming out of relationships that typically was more of I was a giver as opposed to a receiver. So in relationships like that, it's not balanced. It's not equal. And so if you're always the one giving, that the other person typically doesn't recognize that you have needs as well. So that's why this particular subject is very important, and how to help your spouse identify those things.
I guess I was coming from something similar, but more of a not necessarily give her monetarily or whatever, but just of emotion and time and just being the one who's being the nurturer, I guess. That's true. So that way, when I got to our relationship, I just wasn't having it.
Yeah, so I had to wake up quick. And it was a process. Like we said in the previous videos, we dated for 8 years. So we got to learn each other and kind of identify these things. I was a little bit rough around the edges, so she had quite a bit of work to do to kind of whip me into shape. But at the core, I always believed I was a good man. So she at least had something to work with.
Well, what was the issue that you think I had to work on the most when you met me?
Probably I would have to say is sharing.
Sharing?
Yeah, not sharing in terms of objects or material things, but opening up yourself, being more open and not so guarded, so to speak, and be open.
Yeah, I mean, I come from a family where you just suck it up and keep moving. And if I didn't think the relationship was worth 2 shakes, then I ain't gonna open up or do none of that stuff. That's a waste of energy and time. So he had to earn that from me. I ain't just gonna open up.
Right, but I came in with expectations. I was
just wide open.
yeah,
Tell me about your life.
yeah. I was like, you gonna hang out with me. I need to know you.
Your whole life.
Yeah,
We just met.
Just be yourself. That's all I want.
was.
I want you to open up, be yourself. I can understand in today's society why people would be guarded and protective of themselves.
He's an old country boy.
Yeah, that's
like to be open and friendly at first.
That's it. I like to
I'm
be
a city
genuine.
girl. I'm closed till you get to know me.
Boy, let's move on. But I think another issue is that people tend to say, okay, they need a little bit of work for us to become, I guess, a more unified couple. Is that they say, well, they tend to overlook things. Not to say that the person is selfish, but if I'm coming from a background where I was a giver, and the other person just typically received, if they tend not to see, like we just said previously, that I have needs also. And so it's not that to say the other person's bad. It's just that you have to make them aware of that. And once you do, if the person is open and willing to change, then the relationship should flourish at that point. If it doesn't, then the training typically is probably going to cease at that point. What you think about that, honey?
What?
What you mean, what?
What?
Like I was just saying, if people tend to overlook things. When you're in a relationship, you find a person that you're interested in, you like, y'all been dating, y'all have commonalities.
The red flags?
But there's a little bit of things that you notice that this person is not really picking up. And you get a genuine sense that this person's not just a selfish person.
I don't think you pick those things up until the relationship progresses. Like you're in like La La Land, and when you first meet for the first, I don't know, maybe a year or so, maybe 2. After that, that's called the honeymoon stage. I mean, puppy love, or not puppy love, but you know what I mean. After that, all their quirks and all their juicy goodies, skeletons, all that kind of stuff comes out, and then you really find out who's the real deal.
Well, that's why your grandparents always told you got to have a courtship. They always say that boy cold that girl. So you got to spend time. But I'm talking in reference to like a couple. You're already married and so forth. That's why the title is called Training Your Husband. Y'all been together for a while, and what's that?
Training your husband? No. You better know them expectations before you get to the altar.
Well, let's take for example our particular relationship. Even though we had been together for a long time, we got married. I feel in my for me personally is that I did not completely evolve into the husband that I could be until after the marriage. It wasn't beforehand. But there was
a whole lot of training going on before we got married. I'm talking about he probably finished the last quarter mile after we got married, but the whole 3 quarters was prior.
But she did a terrific job, I would say, in identifying the disruptive behaviors that I had that wasn't very supportive.
Yeah, so, just recognizing the things you just didn't want to put up with.
Exactly.
And helping them to change. And, just letting you know, hey, you got to change that. I can't deal with that no more.
But it's something as simple as the kids. Say, for instance, you come home from work. She's been dealing with the kids. She has work also, but she's been dealing with the kids. And you get off, and she needs some me time. And you like, well, no, I want to go ahead and watch the ball game or something. And so the next time, she do the same thing to you. Then you kind of get an idea, I can understand why she needs some me time. I need me some personal time. Everybody do. You're nothing special that other folk that don't need the same things you need. So that's identifying those kind of behaviors. That she was good at that. And she wasn't very wild and loud about it. She just went smoothly about it and just did the same things I was doing to her. She did them to me, and I mean, it worked like magic. I
I
was
think
like,
that's the only way that y'all learn. Y'all learn through what? Experiencing pain.
right.
As if you just cry and whine to them and stuff, they just don't listen. It's one in one ear, not the other. They still do whatever.
Yeah.
The moment you put pain on them, or you just do whatever they did back to you, not necessarily like it's an extreme case, but just something minor, they just can't deal with it. Just like a splinter, crying and whining. Yeah, you don't like it so much.
I didn't. Some of that stuff was very uncomfortable, but I was always dishing it out. And like I said, I wasn't very aware that those things were being done. But once they was done to me, then it was quite clear. And I was like, oh, okay, I get where she's coming from. I see why she need us some alone time or different things, or she needs help around the house and stuff like that. So that really helped. But prior to that, even though I might have seen her working hard and this and that, I was just like, she handled it.
Yeah, she got it. That's what women are built for. They're built for all of that.
Right.
Men ain't built for that.
But all those are fallacies, and don't believe all that stuff. Everybody's human, man. Everybody need time, and they need their own personal time. So she
I had to get the chauvinist out of them. Squeeze it out.
She did, and also she did a great job of just continuously reinforcing that. So sometimes if I slipped off and I'm like, man, I ain't with it tonight, then shortly after that she'll just come back and do the same thing. And so over a period of time, you get to learn and you get to be more considerate, more supportive, and more appreciative. And that's what it means, not necessarily to train your husband or your wife, but just make them aware of the things that might inconvenience you or bother you.
Notice that it's taken a long time to get to. I didn't just just do that overnight. It took many years of, stacking and racking.
But that's why we said in the first point, people come into a relationship already with misconceptions and different things and particular behaviors that are not conducive for the relationship that you just started. But we work through it. Everybody gonna have different things like that. That's why.
What was the thing you had to train me?
I don't know. Everything kind of went smoothly for me. I'm a very adjustable person. I typically don't. I think that was more your process of basically taking me through something that you felt. And it worked great for me. That's how I learn. When I see somebody else suffering or in discomfort, then I tend to be more sympathetic to their particular cause. Now, for her, I don't really see anything like that, and I typically adjust to things like that. Unless it's something that's blatant that bothered me. I wanted her to be more open in the beginning of the relationship. That happened. I just had to let her know that I was the man for her and got her very comfortable. And from there, it was already on like popcorn. So she opened up, and she's been my wife ever since. So, and I think another thing, probably the last point, is that make sure to compliment your spouse when they've made those particular changes. When you feel like
you've done such a good job, honey.
Oh, thank you, honey.
Wow.
See, that everybody like that. Everybody like a little acknowledgement at times on things and milestones that they've made. So it doesn't hurt anything. It only helps. And she's done a great job, just like she did just then. She would always tell me, honey, I really noticed that you've been helping out a lot, doing different things. We always appreciate the hard work you do, but the little small things that you contribute has been absolutely amazing. So the males can do that and the women. So it goes both ways.
And a lot of this stuff comes with being mature. Like when you're a young man, it's going to be so hard.
It really is.
It just takes time and effort. And just like I said, just let them know prior to, if they want to be with you, what it's going to take, what you're not going to put up with. And that's that. You got to be willing to call it a day.
And as
They're
long as
not
you,
willing to put in the work.
and that's it. That's it. If y'all are committed to love and committed to your marriage, all those things are really small and minute in the grand scheme of things.
Mm-hmm.
But just be open and be supportive and always keep respect, like we always say in every video, and y'all will be just fine. And don't take offense to the words we use like train. It's not necessarily train. It's
Mm-hmm.
just
Having
making
them
them.
being learned.
That's it. Or your woman.
Mm-hmm.
And y'all will be just fine. But I believe in everybody out there that's family and marriage will prevail. And y'all gonna have a beautiful life. Just continue to be the great people that you are out there. And we thank y'all again so much for coming in and spending time with us. And again, hit that subscribe button and that notification bell. So as we said in the beginning, anytime there's a new video out, you guys will get it. We're going to continue to keep each other encouraged. So if you have any comments to make, please put them below and tell us about the things that you've changed in and your spouse has probably changed. And we definitely appreciate it, and we will reply. Thank you all so much again. Black love always.